Star Spangled Mods here with another tutorial for y'all. I will be teaching you the simple basics of operating Giants Editor. Not too hard of stuff, pretty simple stuff that you're gonna want to know. But let's hop into it. Already got it open. We're using the New York area, for example. We're gonna start off with the terrain. I'm pretty sure I said something about it in my last video, but this is something you're gonna want to know always. So, just in case you haven't seen it or just missed that part, you're gonna go to your scene graph, hit terrain. If you don't already have your attributes window open, go to window, attributes. It'll pop up somewhere on your screen. For me, my right side. Come on over to terrain and attributes. Scroll all the way down. Reload material, and boom, done. Go over your scene graph, click in the empty space, and there you go. Now you don't have any of that weird purple stuff on your map. Alright, so for now we're going to close our attributes. We don't need that. Alright, so we're going to start off with simple sculpting. We'll zoom in real quick. Alright, so as you see, after your map gets brought in, it's going to have these lumps of land. It's not smooth, so you're going to want to smooth it out. So if you look up at the top, you've got two areas and it looks like a little bit of land. If you hover over it, it'll say terrain sculpt mode. Click on that. Your right side will switch around. Obviously, up here it's going to say terrain. Here's the size of your cursor, per se, you could say, your work use. You can turn it up, turn it down. If you're doing small area, bring it down. If you want it super big, come in the text box here, say we want to go 300, type in 300, enter, bring your cursor over, boom. Now it's the size of 300. But for now, we're not going to be working that big. We'll throw her at 62. Alright, so the next thing you're going to want to know about this side is, which this applies to pretty much all of these tools that you're going to be using. You've got your brush type. You can do round or square. You've got a different few options that you're going to be able to choose for all your mouse buttons. You've got your left mouse button, your middle mouse button, which is your scroll wheel, and your right mouse button. You can do add, which is going to add to the terrain. Control Z is how, if you do something and you're not too happy about it and it's not something you wanted, you do Control Z and it takes it away. Let's add. Smooth. This is the one you're going to want to use to smooth out the lay of the land. Make it nice and pretty. And then the next one you got subtract. That'll subtract, obviously. We'll Control Z that. Next, you got replace. This is going to be a useful one, especially for once you get into placing your buildings, because there isn't a flatten button. So here, let's bring this down just a touch. Oh, more than a touch. Alright. So the way replace works is to technically replace, because it, it's defaulted to this size. As you see down here, it says 129. You can choose the exact number you want, or you can choose the replace limit, lower, higher, none. I typically don't mess with that because I usually do this. This is the next part that is very useful for it. Alright, so say you want your land flat and you want it starting from this area, so you're going to go Control R, and there you go. Now it's the size that it was over here, and you can go all around, all the woody bitty around. That's how you make it so if you bring in a building, it'll be flat. It won't be sticking through your building. We're going to get rid of that. Then you also have erosion, slope, and set slope target, which those I will get into in a different day because those do some interesting things, especially for say you have mountains or whatnot. It'll do some interesting things for you and add to what you want to do when it comes to that style of things. Alright, so that's that. Now we're going to go over to texture painting. That is the red marker looking thing right next to the sculpting mode. S Pretty much the same thing. You can change the size, the opacity. Hold on, let me drag that down just so I can give you all an example. Doesn't really do much when it comes to painting, so we're going to go back real quick to sculpting mode. Alright, never mind. So with hardness, say you take it down to 0.4, we're going to bring it to add. So, hold on. We're all learning a little bit something here. Alright, let me zoom out because this will be a difference. So when it comes to hardness, the lower you got it and the higher you got it, the more of the area, as you see, if you're looking at the cursor and you see how, let me bring this back, you see how it's a whole circle now? If you come back over here and turn your hardness down, now you see that little circle that's in there, right? So it's only focusing on that small circled area. That's what the hardness is typically used for. Though now it has me questioning, and she forgot to close the door. Child is not very happy right now. Let me close this door real quick because we don't need that for the tutorial. This ain't about no children. Alright, so back to it. Opacity doesn't really make much of a difference from what I've been noticing with painting. Hardness, we'll look at that real quick. I don't think that even really does much to painting. Still the same thing. Let's get rid of all this junk. Alright, now on to the next part. This is going to be very useful. Here's a texture layer. This is what you are painting exactly. Say you want to paint grass. Boom. Alright, there's that. But here's where it makes it easier so you don't have to worry about painting over an area. What I'm going to do for an example, we're going to take mountain rock, paint that real quick, and now we're going to enable limit to, and we're going to limit it to the texture. So we're going to go to where is it? Forest rock, right? Oh no, mountain rock, mountain rock, mountain rock. Where are you? Right there. Alright, say we don't like that, but we don't want the outside area to get painted. Say we want sand, for example. So we're going to come on over and see how it only paints where the rock is. That is because we limited it to the mountain rock. So now that is really helpful information. It'll help a lot. Or say you can do the same thing for limited it to a certain foliage, as well as the state for the, well, just for an example, we'll pull this up. We'll do sunflowers. And now in here, you're able to choose what state you're most worried about to paint with or paint on. Green middle. We're going to come over to foliage real quick. That way I can actually show you guys. So we're going to do sunflowers. We're going to put it at green middle 2. We're going to to take down our size since we don't want a ton of sunflowers. Alright, there's your sunflowers. Alright, so we're going to go back over to texture painting. We're going to keep it at sand right. We're going to take away the limit to texture since there isn't a set texture that we want for this area, right? Oh, it didn't take it off. Okay, hold on. Come up here, click the empty space. Alright, now we've got it limited to foliage as well as foliage state. Oh, green middle 2. So now it's only painting where the sunflowers are, as well as the state of sunflowers. Alright, so we're gonna get rid of all this junk. Alright, so that's really it for texture painting. It's not that complicated. Alright, before we get into mesh painting or info layer painting, procedural placement layer will come later on once I have more of an understanding. So terrain foliage point painting is a little plant right there. So you're gonna have add of course. So we want to say we'll do wheat for this example. We're gonna do harvest ready. Boom. Now you got a whole ton of wheat harvest ready. Alright, you can come in here, green middle, change it up. It's the same for your grass and any other type of foliage. Now let's get rid of that. It's really simple. Same thing really. You've got the enable limit too. So say you want to, here, we're gonna go over here, Control R. Control R. No, that doesn't work. Alright. So we're gonna just do grass. We're gonna limit it to the grass area. Alright. So you're able to still limit it to the grass texture. Or Control Z that real quick. We're gonna take away the grass. Scroll up. Boom. Boom. Alright, we want to limit it to where the grass foliage is, right? We're gonna come over to meadow, for example. Alright, perfect. So now it's only gonna paint where the grass is. So anywhere where the meadow grass is, right? Pretty simple. You're able to also limit it to foliage state. So I would assume it's harvest ready, so it'll be limited to the harvest ready state. And that's pretty much really it for it. It's not too complicated. So next we're gonna go to terrain mesh paint mode. So before we click onto that, we're gonna click off of that real quick. We're gonna go look for some trees right up here. So there's one. Alright, perfect. We've got that selected, right? Got the American elm. That's the one you want to paint. So we're gonna come back up here. It's the one with the marker with a dark bluish purple tint right next to the texture, in between texture painting and info layer painting. So in here, look at that. We got trees, just like that. So you're able to change, well, here, let me click off that. Click, click. We're gonna turn that up to 13, distance minimum. So that's the closest it'll be at the very minimum. Distance max is the closest, well, farthest it'll be, you could say. So here, let me zoom out just a touch and do more of bird's eye. We're gonna turn this up a good chunk. So as you see now, they're more spread out. We're gonna turn up the distance minimum a little bit. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Alright, so now as you see, the higher you go, the more spaced out your trees are gonna be as you plant them. And that's really it for that. It's very useful, especially if you don't know the procedural generation painting yet or whatnot. There's a few tutorials out for that. I haven't watched them yet. I've been too busy to figure that out yet. Because more so, if you're using maps for FS, you're going to have most of your trees generated with that. You're only going to be doing this a little bit depending on if you're filling in space that you don't want empty or whatnot. That's my recommendation for this area. But now we're going to move on to the terrain paint info layer mode. So this will be a little bit more. Alright, we're going to zoom out real quick. Alright, so right now we're on environment. We're on open land right now for the area type. So if you've got a city area, there's that. You'll come in here, paint in that area. We'll control Z that. You've got city, village, harbor, industrial, or just plain open water. Get rid of that. Let's get back up here. So then here's your farmlands. This is the farmlands are the areas you buy within the game. So say you want field 7 right over here. That is farmland 7. Say you want to expand that out. It's probably going to be better if I just come over here. Nice and quick. Alright, so you want to expand it. Oh, first off, you got to make sure you're selected onto that. So right now we're on Farmland 0. We want to expand Farmland 7. Now as you see it's highlighted onto Field 7, Farmland 7. I'm going to come in here. Boom. Now it's bigger. That's the area we want expanded. As you see, now it's expanded. Pretty simple stuff when it comes to this. You've got up to 100, or if you want an area not buyable, this is the one you'll use to make an area not buyable. Control Z. But farmlands is probably the easiest one, though when you're in here painting, make sure you don't miss a pixel because you'll come up in game with some error like farmland ID not specified or something like that, and that'll mean it'll say something about pixels as well. I can't remember the whole error off the top of my head, but that will produce a error in game, and that's due to missing a couple pictures. And if I'm not wrong, oh no, we're not missing any pixels over here, but you'll have like a little pixel here and there. So if you ever get that error, you're gonna have to go through your whole map and look for the area that is missing. Ooh, didn't want to do that. But that's farmlands, indoor mask. Alright, so the best example I'm gonna give you is, let's take a base game map for example. The roads, the houses. No snow appears inside them, correct? Or on them, for the road, I mean. So take the road for example. No snow ever goes on Giants roads. So what that's caused by is the indoor mask. It is set as indoor. So they literally go through and paint the roads as indoor masks. So for some reason, you don't get snow on the roads when IRL, snow really does go on roads. But this, if you want to keep your roads so snow actually goes on them, you don't paint them with indoor mask. But when it comes to your buildings and you don't want snow showing up in your buildings, going through the roofs or whatnot, you're gonna put this indoor mask around that and inside it, make sure it's filled in. While, say where my cursor is, you have a building right in there. Now it won't have snow go directly inside it. You'll have it going outside, but not inside it, right? Let me get rid of that. But that's pretty much what that does. Pretty simple stuff. Navigation collision. This is more so for what I believe to be the AI. So When I say AI, I'm talking about the AI helpers that you send off to drive over to a certain destination. So say you have, and no, don't paint your trees, well, your treeland areas, because then once the player cuts them down or makes a road in that area or whatnot, the AI won't go ever touch that area. And the player, if you're making a console map, or even for PC, and the person has no knowledge of Giant's editor, it'll be screwed up the rest of the game for that person. Alright. Tip collision. I'm not really too sure what the difference between the two are. From what I've learned is they're about the same. With tip collision, you've got default, which is a unblocked area, and then the blocked area. Say you have a building or an area that is just completely off limits and you don't want them to be able to tip there at all, you block it right off. No one's ever going to be able to tip and dump anything in that area now. That's what that does. Placement, it's the same thing, just if you don't want someone to be able to place anything in there, you're going to come in and paint it as the blocked placement area. Pretty simple, not too complicated. And field type, this only applies to rice, and I haven't done rice yet, so that one will come at a later date after I have played around with rice more, because I know there's certain areas that I'm going to be mapping out in the future that will be including rice. So by then I'll have more of an understanding of it and be able to explain the functionality of it more. Let's get that out of here. And that's pretty much it for the info layer painting. It's not too complex. Um, Pretty simple, though it's a needed thing. But let's say for farmland, we're going to do this real quick. Just so I can show you guys a example. I'll be doing a tutorial on this in the future. It'll be a short one. But to see your farmlands in XML text editor, Notepad++ is recommended, though I do believe Giants has their own text editor that you can use. To get to the farmlands XML, you're going to go to config, scroll down, farmlands XML. We're going to open that up real quick. Alright, so the way Maps for FS does it, I don't really get why, but this is the way they do it. Normally, the better way of doing it is what I have done with my map is I've come through and made them so each time they're in a individual row instead of having to scroll God knows how long down this whole thing, right? But within here, you're going to be able to change the AI that owns it, the price scale, and let me open up my Wampsville map real quick. Well, that'll be in documents, so we're going to come over here. Wampsville, New York, map, config, farmlands. Am I blind? Where are you? Right there. Alright, we're going to open that up. So, when you want a area to be a default farm property, as it says, to have the player start off with, you're going to come in and copy and paste this default farm property equals true in this exact manner. That way it fully reads it, and these areas will be the default farm properties. I haven't come through and really changed up the areas much. I haven't really thought on how I would like to do that, though from what I'm seeing, I believe with Grandpa's guided tour, I'm gonna have to change these to Grandpa because these are the fields, obviously. I believe 35 is the actual farmyard. But that's really it for the farmlands. It's not the hardest thing. It's probably one of the easiest things you'll do XML wise for your map. Not too complicated. Alright, we're going to minimize this back down. Alright, we're going to get out of this mode. And now I'm going to show you all a few extra things. Let me scroll up in my scene graph. Minimize this. Alright, so obviously I've done this in the last video, but I'm going to be showing y'all again in here. You see your trees are flowing. You want them all on the ground, right? You're going to come over to your scene graph and click on trees, as in all of the trees in your map, every single one. And you're going to, I already have it in here, but for example, I'm going to show you how to get it. Scripts, shared scripts, map, terrain, and then you can also detach this menu like I have over here, and you're going to place objects on terrain. Alright, so it could be something that's a bug that's going on with Maps for FS, but as you see, they didn't fully go to the ground. I can't explain why, but I do have one little fix for it. Maybe a little annoying, but you're going to go into bird's eye view. We're going to click off of all trees. We're going to do a little simple square and highlight them all. Now you've got all these. Now you're going to place objects on terrain again. And there you go. No more flowing trees. They are all on the ground. Nice and pretty, right? Alright. But that's how you get trees or even buildings, which I will do a building for example. This is how placing buildings will work. You're going to go to shared scripts, map, placeables, placeable toolkit. Alright. So if you're using base game buildings, most of them, not all of them will work this way. So for a animal husbandry, yawn real quick. So for the animal husbandry, it will not work doing it this way due to the fact that most of them have fences that need to be placed, which will come at a later video. You're gonna come in here, create placeable referenced. One thing I'm gonna recommend is bookmarking your data folder. This will save you a ton of time from instead going your documents, my games, Farm Sim 25, and scroll down. Oh no, this ain't even in here. Whoopsie daisy. Alright, so I'm lying. The way you'll get to that is you'll go, if you purchase it through Steam, right? You're gonna go to library, find Farm Sim 25, right click, manage, browse local files. There it is, data. Yeah, what time? Okay, that's fine, yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so you're gonna come in here. There's placeables. You're gonna come in here. We're gonna use Meridian for example. Meridian. Oh, I can't even do it in here. But that's how you get to your data folder. And I do recommend bookmarking it. It's been a little bit since I've bookmarked it, so that may be something you're gonna have to look into learning, is how to bookmark it. It's not too complicated from what I remember, but I just cannot remember that off the top. Oh, hold on. Let me go back, right click, pin to quick access. That's how you bookmark it. And then it'll show right up over here with everything else, right? But we're gonna close this down real quick since we can't do anything through here. Close Steam down. Alright, so we're in data now. We're gonna go to placeables. We're gonna use Meridian for example. We're gonna take the arch wall, and it uses XML, so you're gonna double click on there, and boom. Now you have a placeable in your map. To get it, a simple thing. You're gonna come over your scene graph. Don't hover on top of anything. Control B. Now it's unhighlighted. Say you want it right here. Right click. Now it's there. What's going on there? Okay, that's one thing. Oh, I think it just lagged out a little bit. Alright, so one thing when you place your placeables, make sure you go inside it because sometimes you may have foliage in here or even terrain. Like I said, with the terrain, you're going to come in here. You're going to make sure you have in one of your buttons replace selected, Control R, and then you're going to just replace it. That way it'll flatten down to what the floor is of that building. Not really too complicated. Now, on. It's a little slow right now. There we go. Alright. Um, and here's a. I'm gonna teach you guys. No, I do not. No, you can delete that. Well, I'm not even saving this, so it don't matter. So another thing I'm gonna teach you is some maneuverability in Giants Editor. Your left Alt button, hold it down, and with your right mouse button, pull it to the right side, pull it to the left side, and that's how you'll move nice and quick. Super simple stuff. And to look around, you're going to hold your left mouse button down as well as holding Alt still. And now you're able to look around. And hold down left Alt as well still and hold down your middle mouse button. This is how you're going to just move your camera from side to side, up and down, up and down. Wee. Simple stuff. But if you're not doing any of that and you're not selected on anything, you can hold down your right click and you're able to look down all about. You're just not moving from that spot you are right at. Pretty simple, nothing too hard about it. There is another one, another little script Giants have in here. Map. We're gonna go to trees. If you place trees, you're gonna want to count your trees. This will count all your trees for you and tell you the total amount of trees you have in your map. Like right there, it's saying I got 3,500 trees, so we got 3,500 trees in the map. We're gonna come back up to scripts, shared scripts, map. Terrain, paint terrain by spawn. I haven't played with this yet, so that will come at a later date. Because this one I just have not played with yet. I didn't find out about it till a few days ago. But once I get that figured out, I'll make a tutorial on that. Um, and then you've got your field toolkit. This one is also going to be very useful. Oh, that's scripts from Outside Giants. Don't worry about that. But you've got your Farmland field toolkit. This will be where you control all your fields, right? So we're gonna validate all fields real quick. Field size, we're gonna update all fields. This will update all your numbers with the sizes of the fields that they are. So 5 hectares, 10 hectares, 1 hectare, 2 hectares, all that good stuff. And to repaint them, you can also select a certain field by clicking its tag and say we want to repaint fields. You're gonna repaint field. Give it a second. There. Now it's painted to the correct field texture. So to be honest, you're gonna want to do all fields at first. Now all your fields are now really fields. You can clear fruits, clear the fields if you really want. Um, Repaint fields to farmland. Alright, so I'm gonna make an example real quick for this. It's a pretty simple one. So we're gonna come over to our info layer farmlands. Now we're gonna just do this. No, all right. That is field 4. So we're gonna go field 5. Where's field 5? Say they're right on top of each other, and you've got a middle area that you need painted. So you're gonna just do this. Don't worry about this. This is what I'm gonna show you right now. So you're not gonna be a little careless. Oh, paint all this in, right? I accidentally deleted it. Don't mind that. So you've got that farmland selected, right? You're gonna take this. Let's be able to see this. Repaint fields to farmland. We're gonna do selected field. All right, what's going on here? Control Z. Alright, that's real interesting. Alright, let me fill this back in. Oh, fuck. I did it again. Deleted. Alright, all. Alright, so now let's do that one more time. Repeat paint fields to farmland. Selected field. Now we're going to minimize this. Alright, what's going on here? Gonna work? Alright, we're gonna take field 14. Oh, fuck. Control Z. We're gonna take this. We're gonna open it back up. Well, we can have that open still. Alright, so, well, I can't have it open while I select a field, so field 14. Now we're gonna open this back up. Repaint fields to farmland. So we're gonna just do all fields. As you can see over here it worked. I'm pretty sure my Giants editor is just lagging out, but it repainted it to the exact size of the field. I really don't know why my thing is doing that. It's kind of weird right now. Alright, so now it's somewhat doing it. Not really understanding too much why it's tweaking out the way it is, but as you see now, it is back to the field. So all the stuff that we colored in over here is now gone away, but the area in between the fields is now part of this field. This field is only entitled to this field, but this field has control over the grass. Alright, not really too complicated, though make sure you do give your map or Giants editor some time to compensate for any changes you make, especially if it doesn't happen immediately. For example, of what I was doing, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. And yeah, that's really it. There's going to be some more tutorials I'll be doing here soon, especially on the fields, because there's some more stuff you gotta do with the fields. But this video ain't really for that, it's just introducing you guys to the basics. So, today you guys got to learn terrain sculpting, texture painting, mesh painting, info layer painting, as well as foliage paint mode, as well as getting the fields down on the ground, limiting to certain areas to paint, and all that good stuff that you're going to need to know. If you ever need help, feel free to reach out. Watch this video on repeat a few times. One thing I do recommend that helps me learn, watch a video first and then follow along with it. That way you can have some sort of basic understanding before you even try. But if you guys have any other questions on stuff that I can make a tutorial on, let me know, and I'm bound to make a tutorial for it. One of my next ones after this will be on how to do a custom JOSM. That one will be applied to the maps for FS. It's a really awesome feature that will help your map making out massively, especially for making changes that you're not really too fond of that someone did on OSM that isn't really true to how it is IRL. You can fix it up, change it to however you please. If you want to make a fantasy decision, you're more than able to do that. But this is it for the day. Pretty simple stuff. It took me a little bit to learn because some of the stuff I didn't hear till someone was like, "Oh, you know you can move around like this, right? A lot easier, a lot quicker." Also, one last thing that I forgot to go over for your maneuverability. See right down here how it says nav speed? I have it set to 157. I'm gonna bring it down because I believe like starting out you're gonna be at like 20. Well, we'll put it at like, all right, 27. So see how slow I'm moving? That is what the nav speed is. Even when you do your alt movement, it is super slow. Though if you're trying to stay in one area and do super detailed stuff, you can turn it down. But to turn it up and down, you go to your numpad. It is your numpad plus and minus symbols. So to turn it up, you push your plus symbol, and boom, now we're at 140. Look at that. We are now faster than a snail, right? But that's really it. Pretty simple stuff. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. I hope this helped you out a bunch. You guys may, like I said, if you need any help, let me know. If I can't help you, I'll point you in the right direction to someone or a video that is already out that can help you. But I hope you guys find it extremely useful, especially anyone that's beginning to get into mapping themselves or is just making a map that is around their childhood area or whatnot. This will be great for you to get you started in Farming Sim 25. Some of this stuff does apply to 22. Not a ton was changed from the Giants Editor 9 to Giants Editor 10. Pretty simple, but there is some stuff that has changed. But other than that, that's really it for the basics. I hope y'all have a good day. Like I said, I hope y'all found this helpful. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Make sure you smash that like button. Helps me out, helps other people find this video and channel to help them out, and so on and so forth. But that's going to be it for today. I appreciate y'all. Make sure if you're trying to watch some live mapping, you find me on TikTok. That's where I do most of my lives as of right now. I'll probably end up doing some live mapping on Twitch as well. Maybe even YouTube. Not really too sure right now because there's some stuff I do like more about going live on TikTok. Plus, for me, I like to listen to music, so, you know, I'm just babbling on, so I'm gonna get it over with. Y'all have a good day. Y'all stay good. Don't let no stupid shit get you down. Stay non-toxic. This community don't need no more of that bullshit. Y'all be good. I appreciate you.